with US drone. Putin's pilots hunt and kill US Predator. US labels Russian pilots unprofessional. Russia denies, says US drone provoked. What's the truth of the deadly drone drama? The big focus on 5 Live.
What exactly happened over the Black Sea early this morning? A drone and a fighter aircraft colliding. Two Cold War nations that have nearly come to war over what's happening in Ukraine. $100 million drone just ruined, sent crashing into the Black Sea. What is the truth of what happened between the US and Russia yesterday? I'm going to decode that for you here on 5 Live. As always, thanks for being with me. These are the headlines. 18 opposition parties marched to Enforcement Directorate from Parliament. Trinamool and NCP conspicuous by their absence. Rahul Gandhi has landed in India, but he's nowhere to be seen. He isn't at the march. Modi Mantri Smriti Irani trains her guns at Rahul Gandhi, asks him to apologize in Parliament.
Every Indian citizen demands an apology to the Indian Parliament.
Lalu and family get bail in the Land for Jobs case as first reported by India Today. Delhi court grants bail after CBI does not object. Bail bond of 50,000 rupees for Lalu, Rabri and Misa in the multi-100 crore Land for Jobs scam. Supreme Court declines to give Kavita relief from appearing before the Enforcement Directorate tomorrow in the Delhi liquor scam investigation. Buchi Babu, said to be her chartered accountant, is to be confronted by the man alleged to be her front man, Arun Pillai, tomorrow.
जो भी ऑपोजिशन में है, जो भी मोदी जी के खिलाफ बोलेंगे, जो भी बीजेपी के फेल्यूर्स को एक्सपोज करेंगे, उनको तो बुलाना ही है और सताना ही है.
Interim relief for former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan from a Pakistani court. Police ordered to stop operations outside his Lahore home. Order on his bail plea reserved for now. A $30 million fighter aircraft and a US drone that costs at least twice as much. A deadly tango over the Black Sea off the coast of Ukraine that has already been war-ravaged for over a year. Just imagine the implications of that Russian fighter jet colliding with that American drone. What would be the fallout? How could it have happened? And what are the repercussions on the global stage? Well, viewer, this isn't fiction. I'm not making this up. This actually happened. A Russian fighter jet collided with an American drone. Something like this could easily trigger a full-scale war. So why has it not? Take a look at this report. The stealthy high-altitude spy, an American MQ-9 Reaper drone flying silently over the Black Sea. The hunter, a pair of Russian Air Force Sukhoi Su-27 fighter jets. Advanced aircraft of enemy superpowers in a deadly tango off the coast of Ukraine. The American drone pilotless, the Russian jets flown by the best fighter pilots in that country. And then, in what is possibly the most hostile theater in the world today, the unthinkable happens. One of the Russian Su-27s first jettisons fuel onto the American drone and then gently collides with it, destroying the drone's propeller and sending it into a deep dive straight into the Black Sea. In a matter of minutes, a $100 million drone, the cream of American strategic power, is toast. According to the US military, reckless and unprofessional Russian pilots lost control of their jets and rammed into the American drone after dumping fuel onto it.
Based on the actions of the Russian pilots, it's clear that it was unsafe, unprofessional, and I think the actions speak for themselves. What we saw again were fighter aircraft dumping fuel in front of this UAV, and then getting so close to the aircraft that it actually damaged the propeller on the MQ-9. Because of the damage, we were in a position to have to essentially crash it into the Black Sea.
Russia, on its part, has denied all allegations being leveled by the Pentagon, but hasn't offered a separate version, only accusing the United States of flying the drone in a provocative manner and demanding an explanation for the incident. Now you might be wondering why the Russian Su-27s would need to conduct the dangerous business of colliding with a drone to destroy it. Surely Su-27 fighters fly armed with air-to-air missiles, right? While this is certainly true, it's also a fact that a missile fired at a US drone at this time would have been interpreted as an act of war and triggered an unpredictable escalation. This is something Russia definitely is aware of, and that's why experts believe the Russian pilots needed to improvise a dangerous mid-air assault on the American drone without the use of weapons. The MQ-9 drone is about half the length of the Su-27 and much lighter than the fighter, but it has a larger wingspan. Any mid-air touch, even minor, is always a huge risk to both aircraft. Therefore, if the Russian pilots indeed deliberately dumped fuel onto the drone to paralyze its systems and then delicately edged just close enough to tap and destroy the drone's rear-mounted propeller, they knew it would be enough to bring the MQ-9 down. One section of experts contradicts the American suggestion that this was unprofessional warfare and insist it's actually exceptional skill demonstrated by the Russian pilots, especially since the fighters returned safely to their Russian bases. The fog of war means the details of what precisely happened at 20,000 feet may never fully be known, but the incident has sparked renewed tensions between the United States and Russia. Will the US now look to bring down a Russian aircraft in revenge? We'll be watching this space. Bureau Report, India Today. And I just wish there was some camera footage of some kind that could decode for us and throw even more light on what has happened, because the very nature of the fog of war suggests that these two superpowers may not be telling the full story. The Americans have said that the Russian pilots were flying very unprofessionally, in a very unsafe manner. They dumped fuel on the drone and then they hit its propeller, accidentally dooming the drone. But there is another section that says this was actually the exceptional skill of the Russian pilots in the face of this drone being flown provocatively by the Americans. And because the Russians didn't want to escalate the situation by actually firing a missile, which they could very well have done, they decided that they needed to destroy this drone by other means, and that required exceptionally skillful flying. So the theater of operations where this happened is over the Black Sea, very close to Crimea, which was annexed by Russia, remember, in 2014, just off the Ukraine coast. Extremely volatile area, a war, a place where war is being waged. That's where this scary mid-air collision has taken place. And just to clarify to all of our viewers, the drone has been destroyed. It crashed into the Black Sea, but the Russian fighters are both safe. One of them sustained a small bit of damage in the collision, but it has landed back at its base in Crimea. I want to go straight across now to India Today's frontline reporters and editors who were in Ukraine and Russia covering the conflict last year as well as this year. Gaurav Sawant and Geeta Mohan. They both spent many weeks and months reporting from the front line. They've covered the air power aspect of what's been happening in Ukraine. And believe me, there can be no two reporters more deeply invested in what is happening in that region at this point of time. Gaurav, a more escalatory sequence of events cannot be imagined. A Russian fighter jet a US, a Reaper Predator drone controlled by the CIA, as we know, functioning under NATO command in the Black Sea area, colliding. All kinds of claims and counterclaims have been made on both sides. But whatever be the case, the fact that that drone has crashed means that this was very close to being interpreted as an act of war.
Shiv, this is a huge escalation. This marks a huge escalation because this is where you have Russian fighter jets directly taking on an American asset or a NATO asset. In fact, the moment this incident happened, reports suggest that there were 2 more fighter jets that were scrambled immediately. This happened very close to the Estonian airspace, and you had NATO fighter jets, the Germans and the British fighters. They took off immediately, and according to NATO, they escorted the Russian aircraft out of their safe zone. And this is where it shows that Russia and NATO air forces are virtually eyeball to eyeball. They've already had one contact. You're absolutely right. Had a missile been used, it would have been an act of war, a direct escalation. The US could interpret this as an act of war, but this, Shiv, may fall into the grey zone warfare, dumping fuel on the Reaper UCAV, and then tipping it gently for the drone to crash. Russia sent out a message. It's protecting its airspace, as it puts it, or information, Shiv, that was to be used courtesy the Americans by the Ukrainians to harm Russian forces. So this is what the commentary from Russia is, but this marks a huge escalation in this conflict.
Geeta, how are you looking at the fallout of this? You know, the traditional things have been said. The US has put out an elaborate statement saying that the Russian pilots were flying in an unsafe and unprofessional manner. They were out of control. The Russians say that nothing of this sort has happened. It was the provocation actually came from the US side.
Well, Shiv, it's a very, very serious development. We do know that the Russian ambassador was summoned in Washington by U.S. authorities. Having said that, there is a strategic angle to this entire story, and that is the Sevastopol naval base. So close to Crimea, a U.S. drone flying certainly was cause for worry for Russia. While the Western forces consider Crimea part of Ukrainian territory and therefore think it is all right to carry out those reconnaissance missions. But the fact is that Russia over here with the Sevastopol naval base trying to protect what they consider their territory, a naval base which is critical for Russia in not just this war but also in any kind of security, naval security that it provides all through winters to its own boundaries and territories, because this is the only warm water naval base that Russia has. So we do not know really the details of what and why the trigger for taking down the drone, but certainly I'd say that Crimea and the Sevastopol naval base certainly is one of the reasons why the Russians took such a drastic action.
Yes.
Having said that, at this point it is one person's claim against the other. The Russians have rejected the claims. So again, we'll have to wait and see how this pans out between Russia and the US. For now, the Russian envoy has been summoned.
You know, I love how the American press that had so much to say about Balakot in 2019 has been swallowing everything that the Pentagon has been saying, hook, line and sinker, without any evidence actually emerging. You know, in the case of Balakot, the Indian Air Force, the Indian government had put forward a great deal of evidence in terms of, the battlefield picture, AWACS imagery, all manner of electronic intelligence. That hasn't come anywhere out so far from the Pentagon so far. Looking forward to that happening. But, Gaurav, speaking, purely from a technical standpoint, an air power standpoint, aviation circles are abuzz with a deliberate mid-air collision. There are very few instances of something like this ever happening before, and with the aircraft actually surviving. So, dumping fuel on a drone to try and paralyze it, and then tapping on its propeller to destroy it. I mean, this is some very scary, edge of the seat stuff.
You're absolutely right, Shiv. And quick thinking pilot, unless they'd wargamed this earlier, this is quick thinking. This cannot be seen as an escalation because no missiles were fired. They could have fired an air-to-air missile, but that would have been seen as an act of war. dumping fuel on the drone, paralyzing it, and then tipping it. That's what the Americans claim. They claim that they tipped it, and then the Americans had to jettison, and ensure that the aircraft, that the drone actually crashed in the Black Sea. But did the Russians actually bring it down? And that shows the Americans in rather poor light. A drone that was meant to carry out, well, according to the Russians, or commentary that's emerging from Russia, intelligence surveillance in the region that could have benefited the Ukrainian forces. The Russians have sent out a very clear message. But Shiv, this also means that the moment you use air power in a no-fly zone or very close to a no-fly zone, escalation is almost immediate, and this could well indicate that the weeks ahead, unless negotiation brings both sides on the talking table, on the negotiations table, this battle could escalate in the weeks and months ahead.
We'll have to see how it escalates based on precisely this. Remember, the MQ-9 is operated by the Central Intelligence Agency. They are now under the command of NATO, operating in that region. We do know that MQ-9 Reaper drones of the United States operate from, from places like Italy as well as Romania, which has a coast with the Black Sea. But we'll have to see going forward now what kind of retaliatory action the US decides to take. And I'm pretty sure, given the state of play, there will have to be some kind of cost imposed on Russia, given the aggressiveness with which the US has pointed a finger directly at how this took place. Gaurav and Geeta, thank you very much for joining me on this developing story. We'll keep our viewers updated if we hear back from experts as well as the US and the Russia. This story is not going anywhere. Now let's take a look at all the top developments in Lahore, Pakistan, where the former Prime Minister of that country, Imran Khan, has been facing arrest. Things actually climaxed last night and then ended in a bit of a whimper. Pakistani security forces and Imran Khan's party, the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf workers, clashed outside his residence in Lahore. It's the second time in recent weeks that the police have been dispatched to Khan's home to arrest him. Pakistan police made multiple attempts to storm into the ex-Prime Minister's Lahore residence but were stopped by his supporters. Overnight clashes resumed again at 6 a.m. this morning. A heavy contingent of police surrounded Imran's residence. These were the scenes this morning. Water cannons, rubber bullets used to push back supporters of Imran Khan in their hundreds. They'd been gathering outside his house since last night to prevent the police from arresting him. It was a full riot-like situation there. Imran Khan cries conspiracy to finish him by former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, shows the live bullets and gas shells fired into his house. Says the Pakistan government wanted to abduct and assassinate him and his party workers. Motorcycles and other vehicles being set on fire on the road outside Imran Khan's home in Lahore have gone viral. Protests have spread across major cities in Pakistan, including capital Islamabad, Peshawar, Karachi and Rawalpindi, after Imran Khan urged his supporters to continue the fight against the Shahbaz Sharif government. Well, after all that suspense, it ended in an anti-climax. In interim relief for Imran Khan, the Lahore High Court has ordered the police to move away from Imran Khan's residence and not arrest the former Pakistan Prime Minister till the Islamabad High Court makes its own decision. The former Pakistan Prime Minister has accused the current Pakistan government under Shahbaz Sharif of planning his arrest and conspiring. Imran, in a video message, has alleged that his arrest was all a part of a London plan to finish all cases against the country's former Premier, Nawaz Sharif. He further stated that he doesn't understand the reason behind the attack on people, as he had already assured that he will be present in court on the 18th of March as demanded. Imran Khan, showing the tear gas shells and bullets fired at his house, said that the Pakistan government and Nawaz Sharif wanted to finish him off. Well, these comments came as tension continued to prevail in Islamabad, Peshawar and Karachi after Imran called on his supporters to come out and continue to keep up the protests following the police's crackdown.
मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूं कि ये सिर्फ शेल्स नहीं है, ये गोलियां आपके सामने हैं। ये गोलियां चलाई इन्होंने यहां। ये गोलियां चलाने वाले एक आदमी को अदालत में पेश करने के लिए नहीं आते। इनके अज़ाइम, ये जो ऊपर सारे बैठे हुए हैं, जिन्होंने पहले ही मुझे कत्ल करने की कोशिश की थी, इनके अज़ाइम ये नहीं थे कि इमरान खान ने ये अदालत में, वो कह रहा है कि मैं पहुंचूंगा, उसके बावजूद ये हमला कर रहा है और अभी तक हमला हो रहा है। इनका मकसद कुछ और है। लंदन के अंदर प्लान बना, वादे किए गए नवाज शरीफ से, वादा यह किया गया कि अगर हम हमें बैक करेंगे तो मैं आपको ये करके दूंगा, जिसमें इमरान खान को जेल में डालूंगा, पीटीआई को खत्म करूंगा, नवाज शरीफ को सारे केसेस खत्म करूंगा। ये प्लान था पूरा। मैं कहना चाहता हूं अपनी अदलिया से सबसे पहले कि देखिए, उम्मीद सिर्फ अब हमें आप पे रह गई है। ये जुराइम पेशा लोग जो गवर्नमेंट में बैठे हैं, ये तो कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि 80 केसेस कर दिए हैं, और ये तो केसेस बढ़ते जाएंगे। ये तो कोई कभी एक अदालत कभी दूसरी अदालत, इनकी तो कोशिश है कि मैं इलेक्शन ना लड़ूं, या मैं किसी जेल में चला जाऊं, और या सारा वक्त उलझा रहा हूं केसेस में कि कभी एक वारंट निकल रहा है। तो हमें तो सिर्फ उम्मीद अदलिया से है, और दूसरी हम उम्मीद लगा रहे हैं अपनी जो इस्टेब्लिशमेंट है इस मुल्क की, कि क्या आपका इंटरेस्ट पाकिस्तान में है या नहीं है। तो ये जो तमाशा हो रहा है, इसको बंद करें, मुल्क का सोचें। ये जो भी प्लान है लंदन का, इसके ऊपर ना काम करें। ये मुल्क तबाही की तरफ जा रहा है।
ये जी जमान पाक के अंदर है, खान साहब के घर के अंदर पुलिस काफी क्लोज पहुंच गई है, दोनों साइडों से, तीनों साइडों से। लेट अस होप कि गड़बड़ शड़बड़ ना हो। आग शाग जलाई भी है, लोग मुकाबला कर रहे हैं। अभी थोड़ी देर बाहर था तो खूब पथराव हो रहा है, मगर अब तो लगता है उन्होंने शूटिंग शुरू कर दी है। दुआ शुआ करें, अल्लाह पाक खैरियत रखे यार।
But you have to have seen what happened late last night outside Imran Khan's house in Lahore, in case you missed it. Supporters of the former Prime Minister of Pakistan gathered in unprecedented numbers after the Islamabad police reached the spot in what was believed to be the final arrest of Imran Khan. Take a look at what happened.
Pitched battles, batons, tear gas, unrest outside former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's Lahore house on Tuesday. Angry protesters took to the streets and blocked the road by burning tires. His supporters clashed with the police, arriving in to serve an arrest warrant for him. The 71-year-old opposition leader has been ordered to appear in the court on charges of illegal selling state gifts he had received while in office and concealing assets.
इमरान खान के लिए जान देने के लिए तैयार हैं। हमारे ऊपर इन्होंने आंसू गैस चलाया है, वाटर कैनन चलाया है। हम अपनी जान कुर्बान करेंगे अपने कप्तान के लिए। इमरान खान जिंदाबाद।
The violent confrontation left a number of police personnel and Khan's supporters injured. Police said stones were hurled from atop the roof of the former Prime Minister's house. Angry activists of Khan's Tehreek-e-Insaf party even set a water cannon on fire. On his part, Imran Khan issued a call to supporters to stay defiant. He invoked Islam in a video message. Khan told his loyalists to continue the fight even if he's sent to jail or killed.
पाकिस्तानियों, पुलिस मुझे जेल में पकड़ने के लिए आ गई है बाहर, और उनका ये ख्याल है कि जब इमरान खान जेल में चला जाएगा तो कौम सो जाएगी। आपने इनको गलत साबित करना है। आपने ये साबित करना है कि जिंदा कौम है। आपने अपने हकूक के लिए, हकीकी आजादी के लिए आपने जद्दोजहद करनी और निकलना है बाहर।
His political opponents came down hard on him, accusing the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf leader of cowardice. Reinforcements are on their way. A showdown over Khan's expected arrest ahead of national elections due in Pakistan later this year. Bureau Report, India Today.
And we've got a big political exclusive. The brains behind Rahul Gandhi's recent UK tour that has grabbed all the headlines and triggered a big political meltdown here in India joins Rajdeep Sardesai live and exclusive on the other side of this break. Sam Pitroda, the man who was by Rahul Gandhi's side throughout the UK tour, speaks for the first time, breaking his silence as always on India's #1 political news channel, India Today.
India Today Conclave 2023, March 17th and 18th, New Delhi. Listen to Dhananjay Y. Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India. The India Moment.
Padukone proudly represented India as one of the presenters at this year's Oscars.
It plays during a pivotal scene in RRR, a movie.
She walked the champagne carpet looking regal in her black velvet Louis Vuitton gown, and complementing her look was her diamond jewelry. While fans and friends couldn't stop praising this beauty, despite representing India at several international events, the actress went unrecognizable and was mistaken as a Brazilian model, Camila Alves. This was spotted by fans who called out the error by sharing a screenshot from Getty Images. Getting unrecognized by foreign media? Well, a situation that happens more often than not with Asian celebrities. Even in the past, Deepika was unrecognized by foreign media and was later assumed as Priyanka Chopra on one of her trips to LA.
Yes, it's Priyanka. Priyanka. Hello, Priyanka.
When Deepika was asked about the incident, she lashed out at the foreign press, terming it as racism.
Hello, Martin Brundle. How are you? On top of the world. Good stuff.
Her husband and actor Ranveer Singh also went unidentified by an interviewer during Grand Prix.
So can you tell me, please?
I'm a Bollywood actor, sir. I hail from Mumbai, India. I'm an entertainer.
But his humble attitude was what won million hearts.
That's punching.
You know the best part, sir? I have to send it all back in the morning.
Yeah, I know the feeling. All right, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Enjoy the
That's
race.
right. In this viral video, Ranveer can be seen with former racing driver Martin Brundle, who had momentarily forgotten him, to which the actor sweetly introduced himself as an entertainer. It might be surprising to learn, but even global star Priyanka Chopra had a similar incident after Rosie O'Donnell, an American comedian, mistakenly called her the daughter of Indian-born American author Deepak Chopra.
Everybody, it's me, Rosie O'Donnell, and I just embarrassed my son and his girlfriend Teresa and Fran Drescher because seated next to us at Malibu at Nobu was Nick Jonas and his wife, someone Chopra, which I always assumed was Deepak Chopra's daughter.
Odeno, upon realizing her fault, quickly issued an apology, to which Priyanka Chopra reacted by posting a note on her social media and said it would have been better if the comedian had only Googled her name. Entertainment Bureau, India Today.
Competition in this space? Because, while you've got investment in and you're launching products and you've got a good team, but there are significant competitors like Kinetic, like Ola, even the incumbent players, legacy fuel players like Bajaj Auto. How do you see yourself locking horns with them?
Well, it's a competitive marketplace. There is the companies you mentioned and more coming in all the time. We have a slight early mover advantage, and hopefully we will do what it takes to maintain that advantage. I don't think any legacy player has any particular advantage in this field, and as I said, it is a completely different product altogether. It needs a different outlook. So, an early mover advantage definitely will benefit us in the long term. We're learning all the time.
Any market share targets that you have? Because I believe that Ampere, the company that you bought and through which you're launching many products, has about a 12-13% share in the market. Would you be confident of maintaining that? Would you be content with having that kind of a share eventually as this market unfolds and expands?
Yes, we have targeted a 15% market share, and we're close. We're about 13%, as you said, 12-13% now, and we are confident that we can maintain that share.
India Today Conclave 2023, March 17th and 18th, New Delhi. Listen to Dhananjay Y. Chandrachud, Chief Justice of India. The India Moment.
Prime Minister Modi's always had a special equation with the India Today Conclave. Some of the most memorable interactions, interviews, speeches have been made at the stage of the conclave.
As we mark 20 years of the India Today Conclave, we're very fittingly celebrating it as the India Moment.
The biggest thought platform in the country and the country's biggest political superstar coming together.
Looking forward to hearing Prime Minister Narendra Modi talk about India's G20 presidency.
I'm really intrigued to know what he's going to be wearing, because if there are lessons to be taken on how to power dress in an Indian attire, it comes from Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
It's also a time for my state elections in Karnataka. Looking forward to his vision for the state.
What Prime Minister's plans are to ensure that India remains on top of the world global order.
Hoping to hear from him on what is his vision or the blueprint of New India.
Welcome, Prime Minister.
Vanakkam, Pradhamar Thiru Narendra Modi avargalukku.
Narendra Modi ji, ಆಸೆಯಿಂದ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ.
Very warm welcome to our Prime Minister Narendra Modi
On Saturday, the 18th of March, as the finale speaker of this year's conclave.
He's Rahul Gandhi's Man Friday on foreign soil. He was by Rahul Gandhi's side right through his UK tour, which grabbed all the headlines and has triggered a huge meltdown here in Indian Parliament, both inside and outside. He's the man known to have crafted many of the things Rahul perhaps said while in the United Kingdom, including the entire foreign hand controversy. And he's also defended Rahul Gandhi against the huge political backlash here in India. Breaking his silence for the first time, Sam Pitroda, live and exclusive now with India's #1 political reporter, Rajdeep Sardesai.
And joining me now is the chairperson of the Indian Overseas Congress, Sam Pitroda joins me. Appreciate your joining us there from Chicago. Sam Pitroda, you've put out a few tweets on what's been happening over Rahul Gandhi's comments in the United Kingdom. I want your first reaction though to the fact that in the last 3 days, the government has been demanding an apology from Rahul Gandhi. How do you respond to the government's demand that Rahul Gandhi apologize for his remarks in the United Kingdom, because you were there by his side right through?
Rahul Gandhi did not say anything that require any kind of apology. In a democracy like ours, if someone feels very strong about something, he has all the rights to say it. The fact is that what he said has been twisted, lies are being propagated, misinformation is in main demand, and this has become a way of life in India. Unfortunately, it happens most of the time with Rahul Gandhi. So I was a little bit concerned because he didn't say any of those things. Of course, he said then that Indian democracy is going through challenge. I also believe that, mainly because our institutions are captured. You look at media, the amount of time media spends on trivial issues with Rahul Gandhi is absolutely out of proportion. The entire national media gets ganged up on an issue in a country where there are larger issues like economy, inflation, unemployment, education, all the promises government made. What happened to it? There is no debate on any of these real issues. But nation is obsessed for 3 days on what Rahul Gandhi did not say. Rahul Gandhi never invited any foreign country to participate. Rahul Gandhi very clearly said that this is our challenge and we will deal with it. So what is the sense in lying, twisting? I just don't get it. And then the question of apology. There is no question.
Can I just stop you for a moment, Mr. Can I just stop you for a moment, because there were a few remarks of Rahul Gandhi that raised a controversy on this so-called foreign intervention. He says in an address in Hounslow to the Indian diaspora, the surprising thing is so-called defenders of democracy, which are the United States and European countries, seem to be oblivious that huge chunks of the democratic model in India have come undone, which is a real problem. The opposition is fighting that battle. The battle is for huge democratic people. The opposition has placed the vision on the table. Now, this is being interpreted by the BJP to suggest he's calling for intervention from the US and European countries. In another speech,
First of all, it's a wrong interpretation. But as far as I'm concerned, Indian democracy is global public good. Indian democracy should be everybody's concern. If democracy fails in India, democracy will have huge impact. So this is not about India. It is not about Hindutva. It is about Manavta. We need to worry about the world first. I am more concerned about planet and people than power and profits. I think we are at a point in the history today.
But Mr. Pitroda, could Rahul Gandhi have been a little bit? Could Mr. Rahul Gandhi have been a little bit more nuanced when you're dealing with sensitive issues?
So.
For example, in Cambridge, there was a Sikh gentleman in front of him, and he said Sikhs are being reduced to second-class citizens. When you make these comments, could you be more nuanced?
It's okay to make that comment. You are a democratic country. I mean, what is the problem? If one feels that way, it's perfectly normal. You can disagree with him. That's okay.
But you're seen to be overly negative. You're seen to be constantly negative and dissing on your own country on foreign soil.
So what's the problem though? I mean, what is this idea that you can't say anything against your country on foreign soil? Who came up with this concept? The world is everybody's. So this whole idea that you can't go to foreign country and say something, you can say whatever you want to say. What's the problem? I just don't get it. Where is the problem? You should be.
You could be more nuanced instead of making sweeping remarks. You know, democracy in India is messy and chaotic. But to say that democracy is finished.
Of course, I also feel that democracy is not finished. Democracy
is it an overstatement?
Democracy is attacked, and someone feels that it is finished. That's okay. That's their judgment. You can say, I don't agree with your judgment. That's perfectly normal. But the attack after attack in an organized way with media support is what I'm concerned about. Okay? Poor guy can't even scratch. If you scratch, you will say, why did you scratch in foreign countries? I mean, let's be reasonable. Let's be civilized. Let's give him some space. Poor fellow has no space. Why is everyone so obsessed with what he says, how he said, every word of it, every sentence of it, every tone of it? He's also a human being. He should have the same freedom you and I have. Of course, he's a leader of a party, one of the key leaders in the country. We all respect that. But at the end of the day, we are all human beings. I also say things in America about India. That doesn't mean I'm against India. I'm not nationalist. I say things about America, being in America. Nobody has ever asked me anything. I've said lots of negative things about America. In America, abroad, I am a human being first. I'm more concerned about humanity than about nationality. So now you don't have to agree with me.
But isn't But Sam Pitroda, isn't it more important for a leader who aspires to the highest office in India to offer his own vision, his own positive narrative of India, rather than constantly focusing on the negatives and bashing Narendra Modi? That surely Rahul Gandhi has more to offer as to what the Congress party and he stands for, rather than focus on Mr. Modi all the time.
Rajdeep, that is his option. And this is your opinion, which is fine. I respect that.
But, you know, the point which I'm coming to, Sam Pitroda, is Rahul Gandhi goes to the United Kingdom and makes observations which at times can be challenged. For example, when he says, I'm not allowed to speak at all in Parliament, he just gave a 1-hour speech on the...
No, Rajdeep, the observation can be challenged.
So what you're saying, in a democracy, let me understand what you're saying. Sure. What you're saying is that you're calling for a debate. You're calling for a debate, a dialogue, a conversation. You're saying every time I say something critical of you doesn't mean I'm anti-India, doesn't mean I need to apologize to you. Am I correct?
Of course. Let me give you an example. Okay. During last election, I said something was completely twisted, misrepresented. Media went wild. Nobody came and asked me, Mr. Pitroda, what did you mean by that? This is the state of communication in India. You go talk to any civil society people, NGOs. They will tell you, we are being harassed. There are unnecessary court cases on us. ED has been sent to us. And I can give you a list of 50 of those. That means civil society is not functioning well. Isn't that a concern in a democracy? Of course it's a concern in democracy. How can I not speak about it? That doesn't mean I'm anti anybody. I'll give you another example. Very simple example, personal example. There was a Padyatra in New York. I participated in it because it was Indian Overseas Congress had organized. Because of my health, I don't take long walk, but I did walk about 1.5 kilometers. It was pretty successful. Next day, within 24 hours, I get a letter from ED saying, when did you become member of the Congress party? What is your designation? I wrote to them. I said, why do you have to know that? Immediately I got a response back saying, according to law A7937 - whatever. I said, look, I don't understand what you're saying. It is basically intimidation, harassment. You have to be at the other end to really realize what happens. And when these kinds of things go on,
Mr. Pitroda,
you think that the democracy...
Mr. Pitroda, the point that I'm coming at, I would agree that Rahul Gandhi has every right to express his views. But when you express your views and you're a person of stature, you have to be careful of every word, because every word will be picked up by someone or the other.
That's
so as I said, when you refer in the audience to Sikhs being becoming second-class community, there will be a backlash.
That we will see. The point is, we all have right to say how we feel in a democracy. Don't put your interpretation as the only interpretation. We are all human beings. We live in a democratic society. We have a view. If you don't agree with my view, I respect that. But don't gang up on me. Don't ask 50 people to immediately go on TV and start attacking me. Don't have an orchestrated, well-organized, well-oiled machine released on you. I think that is the issue I'm concerned about. It's okay for you to have a conversation with me, and it's okay for you to disagree with me. I respect that. Why should you and I agree on everything? Let's have civilized discourse. Let's not have personal attacks all the time on every issue at every minute.
The government would say Rahul Gandhi has also constantly attacked Prime Minister Modi. So it's become very bitter, personal, and there's enmity. And that's the problem why Indian democracy has become dysfunctional. In Parliament, for example, the two sides simply don't see eye to eye. That's the real problem.
No, I don't think that's a real problem at all. Okay, I think you're wrong. Prime Minister is the Prime Minister of a country. Every citizen has a right to criticize Prime Minister. There's nothing wrong with it, because he is, at the end of the day, Prime Minister of everybody and not a group of people. He needs to represent the entire country. And if somebody criticizes him, Prime Minister should be big enough to take criticism. I worry when Prime Minister talks on public media, the way he talks sometimes. To me, that's not dignified way for a Prime Minister to attack somebody. Others can attack Prime Minister. Remember that. But Prime Minister of my country is a Prime Minister for everybody. And it's okay for me to criticize him. He has to have broad shoulders to take a lot of criticism and not go into tutu meme. When Prime Minister does that, it bothers me.
So in conclusion, Sam Pitroda, you'd say that Rahul Gandhi has no reason to have any regrets or apologize.
He didn't say anything.
And
He
you
didn't say
believe
anything.
that actually what he's done?
He didn't say anything. Just go look at his videos.
You
Just
keep
examine
saying
it. You may have an interpretation, but that's your interpretation. You are entitled to that. I respect that. But my interpretation is different. Okay? So calm down.
Right.
Lower the temperature.
So Sam Pitroda,
take a deep breath.
You're calling for people to calm down, to lower the temperature. Just tell me one last thing, as someone who's very close to Rahul Gandhi, how much has this affected Rahul Gandhi, the person? You've known him closely over the years. There are those who've tried to project him as more of a party ideologue, not a day-to-day politician. Is that part of the problem? How much of all of this has affected him as a person?
There is no problem. First of all, when you say there is part of the problem, you are predefining that there is a problem and this is a piece to it. There is no problem. He is what he is. I think Yatra has really helped him a lot in terms of connecting with people, in terms of understanding what the real problems of the people are compared to what media projects. There is a disconnect between media, politics, big business, and people on the ground. People on the ground are more concerned about unemployment, inflation, growth. People on the ground want their life to be little better, while media and everybody is on completely different platform. They have a different conversation going on, and which is true in many countries. It is not just true in India. You go to US, you'll find the same thing. Media is debating geopolitical issues, while
You can watch that full exclusive interview with Sam Pitroda at 9 p.m. Already many big headlines in some of those answers he's given. First and exclusive here on India Today. That's a wrap on 5 Live. Thanks for watching. 6 p.m. Prime with Akshita is up next. 18 opposition parties came together to march the Enforcement Directorate from Parliament. But the Trinamool and the NCP couldn't have been more conspicuous by their absence. Also, where is Rahul Gandhi? After speaking so much about democracy and the opposition, Rahul Gandhi invisible at the protest.
Elephant Whisperers, Kartiki Gonzalez and Gunit Monga.
The Jumbo Oscar moment, where India's Elephant Whisperers enchanted the world. While the world is blowing their trumpet, it's just another day of love and care for the super popular elephant helpers of Tamil Nadu's Mudumalai National Park. Billy and Bomman, despite their advancing age, are busy with Raghu and Ammu.